Hey, it's AW and we back today, guys. And today we got a special one for you. And me being the power scaler that I am, I have noticed these 5 anime are the most challenging verses to scale. And each have their own unique challenges and quirks that make it hard for certain scalers, especially amateur ones, to get over. Hurdles to get over. The one thing each of these anime do have in common is that they are the most difficult anime for power scalers to scale. And each of them are difficult for different reasons. The first one we have, and we're doing this from least to greatest, of course, is Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball is unique in that, unlike the next anime that we're going to be coming up before, most of the Dragon Ball power scaling woes are fan made. While the Dragon Ball writers do have some blame to bear, as they do create certain holes within the timeline that do make it difficult for power scalers to scale certain characters, it is mostly due, even with the writing, it is mostly due to YouTube scalers and die-hard Goku fans. I'm just gonna let you guys know, if you're expecting me to twerk it up for Goku, some of you Goku lovers, I'm not here to do that. I'm here to give my honest analysis of Dragon Ball. The YouTube scalers have created this group, or this so-called power scalers or debaters, who seem to enjoy and seem to have a need to descale other verses to further Goku's power past what is written by the writers of Dragon Ball. While the woes of the Dragon Ball writing are evident, they do somewhat hinder accurate power scaling. Still, it is the die-hard fans, the die-hard Goku fans, and YouTube scalers such as Seth the Programmer and those that follow him, they have created the subset of amateur power scalers. And these amateur power scalers essentially have invaded the Versus Battle Wiki and Discord, and will insult you if you power scale using canonized feats. Unlike the next anime that will be coming up, Dragon Ball is not a difficult anime to power scale in 2022 because of its combat system. Dragon Ball's combat system is not sophisticated. You have a subset of fans, Dragon Ball fans, who will insult you if you pull canonized feats and facts that do align with the scaling of their beloved Goku, but does not align with the scaling that they feel he should have. Due to the power scaling community, the Dragon Ball Z itself is a very simple combat system, and many amateur power scalers use that anime as a starter, as the Dragon Ball anime is an all-time great, right along with Dragon Ball Z. All of these are all-time greats. And while as a child it was great to see the ki blast and the blowing up the planets, when you look at it from a power scaling standpoint, at this day and age, it is a simple combat system. Dragon Ball combat system is the least complicated of the 5 other animes, and it's great for amateur power scalers to get their feet wet, because most of the Dragon Ball's power system is ki blast, vanishes, and powering up. There's very little, if any, conditions for Dragon Ball, hence why many amateur power scalers love to scale it, and why they also, a lot of them, misscale Goku and the other characters. Now, nothing is wrong with that, of course, but in terms of a combat system, the next anime we have is has highly difficult conditions, canonized feats, and many exceptions. The fact that a lot of amateur power scalers have the need to discredit other verses is the main reason Dragon Ball is a very difficult verse to scale. You will have people who love Goku so much who would tell you you're wrong, but that you will bring manga from Toriyama proving that a macrocosm is a universe, and they will still argue with you. Dragon Ball has only recently been adding new powers, transformations, and a few other new quirks to the anime. But a lot of times they still seem forced. They don't seem organic, like, Jujutsu Kaisen or Bleach. These next four anime have higher level of intricacies in the conditions of their battles and canonized feats than Dragon Ball. Hence why most Dragon Ball amateurs, power scalers, know very little about power scaling, because they won't dive themselves outside of the realm of Dragon Ball and realize that the Dragon Ball combat system is one of the most simple of all the animes and manga. When we dive into the number 4 on this list, I want to say the number 4 on this list, guys, is probably the greatest manga of all time. This anime, One Piece, is challenging due to the power scale. It's challenging the power scale due to the vast array of powers and characters in this anime. One Piece on record has the most characters and powers of any anime known to man. I also feel like One Piece is the greatest manga of all time, as I just stated. But that's another topic for a different day. What is debatable is the sheer number of powers you must consider within the One Piece verse and how those powers interact with the conditions of the One Piece verse. As many One Piece scalers know, Logia fruits start out as the most dominant fruit early on in the One Piece mythos. But Hawkeyes soon begins to be introduced, and now Logias are now balanced out, and they are not seen as powerful as they once were within the One Piece show. See, I was one of the few that started watching One Piece at a very early age. I was about 15 or 14. That was about well over a decade. So I remember when the Logias were first introduced, they were the most powerful fruit. Once, if many One Piece scalers will remember, Luffy used to run from Smoker. But once he learned Hawkeye, Luffy immediately surpassed Smoker in terms of scaling. One Piece also later introduced Awakenings, which seem to only be allowed for Paramecia fruit users as of now. We don't know if later on in the manga or anime that Paramecia, other fruit user Logias and things will get Awakenings as well. But this type of writing allows for great tug and pull discussion amongst scalers that allow for great scaling arguments. Oda, the writer, also introduced Zoan types with their own special powerful subsets as well, such as Marco the Phoenix, the mythical Zoan, and the ancient Zoan type such as Drake. These subset of Zoan fruit users allow Zoan fruit users to compete even with the most powerful Paramecias and Logias in the show. It is these multitude of characters and how their powers interact with characters within the One Piece verse and other outside verses that show that One Piece is one of the most difficult shonen anime to power scale. Granted, due to the simple powers the majority of the characters have within the One Piece verse, it is relatively easy to understand the conditions of scaling One Piece and the powers, as they are rarely simple to understand. Hence why One Piece only comes in as the 4th most difficult anime to power scale. When we jump to 3rd, we then have one of the all-time greats, Bleach. Now, many critics of Bleach feel Ichigo doesn't have much depth as a main character. I'm not here to discuss that. Even if that's true, power scalers cannot deny that the Bleach anime is one of the most difficult animes to power scale, and it is due to the multitude of different species, movements, techniques, kidos, martial arts, and bankais. Each one of the main races and even the sub-races bring different techniques, movement techniques, and power-ups to the wide array of characters in Bleach. The conditions for Bleach power scaling can be hard to identify for 2 reasons. The first reason is obvious. There are so many techniques, and you must consider how that said technique is relevant to the canonized feats of the verse. The second reason is that there are bankais and techniques in Bleach that are capable of matter manipulation and reality warping. Usually when an anime character possesses that level of power, even veteran scalers have a hard time maneuvering the conditions and rules Kubo, the writer, has placed within his anime. Kubo understands the formula for shonen. Kubo incorporates swordsmanship, martial arts, Bleach, and it really displayed how powerful Yamamoto is, especially with him, fighting, that yacht imposter with one arm. The reason Bleach is only third is because the next two animes have just as many characters as Bleach, but the conditions and rules for the characters and powers go even deeper than Bankai's, the Shikai's of Bleach. Definitely go deeper than the Devil Fruit users of One Piece, and of course it goes much deeper than Dragon Ball. And I wonder if you guys can guess it before I say it. And yep, it's Jujutsu Kaisen, created by Akutami, one of the newer animes on this list. This anime is said to be, in my opinion, one of the greatest, as it incorporates all of the great things from each of the big three anime. For you old school anime watchers, you guys know what I'm talking about. The writing for Jujutsu Kaisen is better than all three of the big three of the previous anime discussed, barring One Piece. One Piece writing is excellent. There's a few nicks and himmies, but it's pretty good. But Jujutsu Kaisen, the fight scenes are the most beautifully choreographed right now to date. Even better than 1,000 Year Blood War art fight scenes. And let me tell you, Bleach is no slouch on the fight scenes. The conditions and rules for scaling Jujutsu Kaisen characters is highly intricate, as many of the conditions have characters that create exceptions to the rules and conditions of the Jujutsu Kaisen verse. Haraki Kenji can use reverse curse technique. A highly advanced, let me tell you, reverse curse technique is a highly advanced technique. He is capable of using it without any training or skill with the technique due to his domain expansion. The reverse curse technique is a technique that heals the user from mortal wounds by converting their curse energy from negative to positive. This technique is highly complicated and is the only and the most skilled of Jujutsu Kaisen sorcerers possess this capability. Unlike Yuta, even Satoru Gojo couldn't completely understand the reverse curse technique majority of his time as a young Jujutsu Kaisen sorcerer at Jujutsu Kaisen High. And Gojo is the most powerful Jujutsu Kaisen sorcerer we have seen so far. This brings us to one of the conditions of the show. Curse energy itself is the catalyst for all techniques within Jujutsu Kaisen. What makes Jujutsu Kaisen so high on this list is the fact that curse energy within the show can be utilized in more ways than one. He is independent for Dragon Ball, just like Riechu, Reishi, and Spiritual Pressure are independents in Bleach. One Piece would be the independent for One Piece would be Devil Fruits and Hokage loosely. Experience it plays a huge role in One Piece. So we have to say loosely, and that's why I state loosely. But Jujutsu Kaisen has the most unique techniques within any shonen anime that utilizes catalysts are independent. For example, even fighters who do not possess large amounts of curse energy can be very powerful within a verse due to their physical prowess and the use of curse energy weapons. Toji, Fushiguro, and Maki are prime examples, with the first rivaling Gojo before he eventually ascended to another level using the reverse curse technique. Unlike Toji, his son is highly proficient in curse techniques, and Megumi Fushiguro also is capable of utilizing curse weapons highly proficiently, thus making him one of the most balanced characters in the show. Not to mention, he can use his curse energy to summon familiars or Shikigami and become even more powerful when he is fighting alongside of them. Many of the characters utilize curse energy in different ways from combat. Unlike Dragon Ball, where everyone has a ki blast, a signature ki blast move, many of the Jujutsu Kaisen characters and techniques and movements are unique to that Jujutsu Kaisen character. Even without planets blowing up, the fight scenes for Jujutsu Kaisen incorporates a sort of primal martial arts that isn't prevalent quite like it is in Dragon Ball. In terms of fight scenes, Jujutsu Kaisen takes the cake. The only reason Jujutsu Kaisen is not number one is because this next anime has been around longer than Jujutsu Kaisen, yet it still boasts the most complicated scaling system of all the mainstream anime, and of course, that is Hunter Hunter. Now, out of all these anime, Hunter Hunter is one that I did not watch much, but I did read the manga and I did watch a little bit of the anime. So while I'm familiar with the scaling system or combat system within Hunter x Hunter, I am more versed in other shows. But I'm currently in this one, nevertheless, because I am a grandmaster of power scaling. I can still grasp the scaling and combat system of any show that I watch. I can dive into it, I can research it, I can put it up against other shows. Hunter x Hunter is placed at number one due to the nin being the independent or catalyst for the scaling of the verse. The nin is used in so many ways. It is hard to scale characters against characters in that verse. It's already difficult for Powerscales to scale characters outside of characters in other verses, but just Hunter x Hunter, it is very challenging to determine who is the strongest within Hunter x Hunter because of how nin is used. Let alone seeing how they stack against characters that are not from the same verse. As Nin's conditions are the most unique out of any shonen I've seen thus far. Nin allows for a human being to manipulate their own life energy or aura. While Nin itself is the condition, Nin can be broken into 6 types of auras or conditions. Each character within Hunter x Hunter possesses one of the 6 aura types, and based on that aura type, a multitude of combined techniques can be utilized once a Nin user masters his or her own aura or Nin. It gets even deeper though, Powerscalers. As for aura, there are specialization categories, as you can see down below. These specialization categories can only be utilized by certain individual Nin users. Every other Nin category can be utilized by any Nin user except the specialist category. Either you can't use it or you can't. Kurapika, when his eyes turned scarlet and he defeated Yuvogen from the Phantom Troop, he was utilizing the specialist category once his eyes turned scarlet. Kurapika became able to utilize all of these types of techniques, all these types of Nin at full power. So all 6, due to him having the scarlet eyes, he was able to use 100% of all 6 of the techniques. That was his condition. Now, of course, with the drawback is that this shortens his lifespan every second he is in this mode, shortens his lifespan by an hour. So the specialist category is a powerful category. So even the Nin users have anomalies within those set conditions. See, unlike in Dragon Ball, Jujutsu Kaisen, and Bleach, where the amount of ki, curse energy, and spiritual pressure you possess would give a character an edge in battle, Hunter x Hunter characters can be defeated in other ways aside from possessing large amounts of kin, as Yuvogen had much more nin than Kurapika, as this is evident by Yuvogen maintaining a powerful kin throughout nearly the entire battle before Kurapika killed him. And kin is a technique utilized using nin. It's a base technique. So you have to understand that Hunter x Hunter boasts good martial arts scenes and really good writing, but it does not base every fight on martial arts, as Yuvogen did not use any type of martial arts when fighting Kurapika. The concept of nin and how it is applied to the different personality of characters within the Hunter x Hunter verse is the reason Hunter x Hunter comes in at number 1 as being the most difficult anime shonen for Powerscaling, for Powerscalers. For example, unlike in Dragon Ball, Jujutsu Kaisen, or Bleach, having high amounts of nin does not guarantee victory over a nin user. Hence why Kurapika was able to defeat Yuvogen. As a nin user who is highly proficient in manipulation and conjuring, you can have an advantage over a pure enhancer nin user, even if that enhancer possesses more nin, as this allows for many hard matchups within the Hunter x Hunter verse for us Powerscalers, as you must consider the subset of nin skills as well, along with the 6 main categories, not to mention the specialist categories. And you must recognize how that said character uses his optimal nin category that he was born with, and how he uses all the other nin categories in accordance with the feats and information given to us within the manga and the show. There is not a mainstream shonen out there currently right now with more advanced combat system than Hunter x Hunter. Hence why I don't see many amateur Hunter x Hunter scalers, and why this shonen takes the #1 spot as the most difficult mainstream shonen anime to power still. Togashi may not have created the most powerful shonen, but he did create the most interesting and most difficult shonen to scale for Powerscalers. I know the Hunter x Hunter manga has returned, and I hope to see the anime come to fruition. Please let me know what you guys think about this video in the comment section down below. This is AW, and we out.